I have good news. And then I have bad news. And then I have good news. We're going to start right here with an article from the 33rd team predicting every division winner for the AFC West. This may come as a surprise, but the article decides to go with the Kansas City Chiefs, saying, I learned a lesson in last year's playoffs. Don't pick against the Kansas City Chiefs as long as Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are there. While they'll have plenty of competition in their quest for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl title, winning their ninth consecutive division title will be a cakewalk. The Chiefs won the AFC West by 3 games over the Raiders and Broncos last season. Mahomes is the NFL's best player, and he has lots of help from his excellent supporting cast, led by all pros Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. Drafting speedy wide receiver Xavier Worthy and adding Marquise Brown, recovering from a shoulder injury, should help the Chiefs' cause. They must replace a fine corner in the traded L'Jarius Sneed, but having the second-ranked defense last season, led by Chris Jones, was a big part of their success. Now, this should come as no surprise. The Chiefs, leading into their what will be their ninth consecutive division title, only if they win this year, only 2 away from the record 11 set by the New England Patriots. Yes, the New England Patriots of that era. The Chiefs should be the prohibitive favorites in the division. You're the man until someone takes the title. Now, will the competition this season be closer than has it been in years past? I think the answer is probably yes. I think that Russell Wilson was a big part of what was wrong in Denver. The Denver Broncos have some good players at some important positions. And Bo Nix, I don't want to admit it, I didn't think Bo Nix was going to look very good. Has looked decent in the preseason. And whatever's going on with the Chargers is going to continue going on with the Chargers. Add to that, the Raiders did get one up on the Kansas City Chiefs last season, and, well, the competition may be hotter, but I think we have every reason to believe the Kansas City Chiefs are the cream of the crop in the AFC West. And we have every reason to believe that because this next article, NFL Division Supremacy, ranking all 8 ahead of the 2024 season, ranking all 8 divisions, that is, from Fox Sports, ranks as the 8th and final division, the AFC West. This is the bad news. The Chiefs may just be king of the worst division in football, a very large fish in a very small pond. But who's to say that is the case when they've won 2 consecutive Super Bowls? However, Fox Sports goes into things as such. Interestingly, the worst division in the league features the best team. The Chiefs are the envy of the entire NFL, so naturally they've also dominated the AFC West to the tune of 8 straight division titles. Behind them, though, the rest of this group seems to be in transition. Denver is starting over with a new quarterback, likely a rookie. The Raiders have a solid overall roster, but no franchise quarterback to guide them. The Chargers have the opposite problem, a Pro Bowl quarterback, but a thin supporting cast around him. The Chiefs are great, but they just might be the division's only relevant team in 2024. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. This is the part that set me off. The Chargers have the opposite problem of the Raiders. A Pro Bowl quarterback, but a thin supporting cast around him. Guys, it wasn't that long ago when the Chargers were said to have the best roster in the AFC West, one of the best rosters in the AFC, one of the top 5 rosters in the NFL. That's right. What happened? Well, their little quarterback grew up. Their little quarterback and all the other players on their roster want more money. All of a sudden, It's hard to have a big, strong, robust roster with all of those people making all of that money, and you can't replace the talent you lose. The Chiefs have replaced the talent they've lost. Now, it would be easy to say that the Chargers are on the decline here because of that. And I think you would be correct. They seem to have gotten a new coach. Maybe that will work out for them. I won't believe it until I see it. The Raiders and the Broncos, kind of in the same spots, relatively good at some spots on their roster, but quarterbacks either not good or unproven. Who has kept them there? Who has kept them there by beating them year in and year out and getting coaches fired, by beating them year in and year out, forcing them to recognize this quarterback is not going to take us X, Y, and Z, beating them year in and year out, and having players just generally leave those rosters for greener pastures. Well, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. The AFC West is maybe a bad division, but it's because the Chiefs have curb stomped everyone in the division for so very long. Now, I said that we would end with another upswing on some good news, and that is just what we're going to do, because here we have two articles pointing to the Kansas City Chiefs being the preeminent team of the AFC West. But last season, we did see them with some struggles. We saw them with some struggles, namely because the offense had fallen off. The offense had taken a step backwards, a couple steps backwards probably. And we have an article about the offense here, which ranks, I can't remember where I got this from, but it ranks the Kansas City Chiefs as the 7th offense for the upcoming season. Chiefs fans, I know this ranking will make you mad, but let me state my case. The Chiefs had a great team last season. They did not have a great offense last season. It was merely very good. Let's stop right there and note how terrible very good felt. Watching Patrick Mahomes have the worst season overall of his career seemed a bit like a struggle. Chiefs offense ranks DVOA 8th, EPA per drive 11, success rate 12th. The Chiefs get graded on a different curve because they have Patrick Mahomes, the best player in the NFL, and maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. A lot of teams would do cartwheels if they ranked 8th in offensive efficiency. Right there. But for the Chiefs, it was easily their worst mark under Mahomes. In fact, they had not finished lower than 3rd in the previous 5 seasons with Mahomes as their starter. So why the slight drop-off last season? It had nothing to do with Mahomes. He's the same guy he's always been. It had everything to do with his unreliable supporting cast. Chiefs pass catchers had 34 drops in the regular season, 3rd most in the NFL. Players not named Mahomes were charged with 15 fumbles. Right tackle Jawan Taylor was charged with 19 penalties in the regular season. If you threw any other quarterback into that situation, there's no way the Chiefs would be a top 10 offense. So where does that leave us for 2024? The Chiefs made 2 additions at wide receiver. Veteran free agent Marquise Brown and first-round pick Xavier Worthy. Brown is coming off of a 574-yard season with the Cardinals and has missed 8 games of the past 2 seasons. He suffered a shoulder injury in the Chiefs' first preseason game and is currently sidelined. Worthy has generated a lot of buzz after running a 4.21 second 40-yard dash at the Combine. But there's always a degree of risk counting on rookie pass catchers, especially a guy like Worthy, who weighs just 165 pounds. In the last 10 seasons, 40 wide receivers have been taken in the first round. Their average production as rookies, 50.1 catches, 670.5 yards. The Chiefs still have tight end Travis Kelce, but he is entering his age 35 season. They still have wide receiver Rashee Rice, but he could be facing a suspension. Now, though the end of this bit from that article may seem a bit like a downer, I think that what it is saying is more important than those final few notes. The Chiefs' offense is almost assuredly going to be better than last year. In fact, almost assuredly going to be leaps and bounds better than last season. These results have not yet been put on the field. Xavier Worthy has played just a handful of snaps in the preseason. Hollywood Brown has played just one. That said, the offense with Mahomes under center looked better even in some preseason action, looked better, even maybe not against starters, looked better just in presentation than I think we saw at any point last season. Now, the first preseason game was a bit of an S show for the starters, even, but I think just the way they carried themselves was different. That might be mumbo jumbo, that might be hoo ha, I understand. It might be. It also might not be. The Kansas City Chiefs might have a long-term solution at left tackle in Kingsley Suamataia. That is going to improve every wide receiver on the roster. That is going to improve every passing down the Kansas City Chiefs take in this upcoming season. And really, I think he's going to greatly improve the running game every time the Kansas City Chiefs decide to hand off the ball. If you go back and you watch the effort put forth by Donovan Smith last year, I personally am a Donovan Smith apologist. I think that for what the Kansas City Chiefs put out, money-wise, and what they received from Donovan Smith, they came out on the winning end of that transaction. But Donovan Smith, opposite of Trey Smith. Trey Smith is going to be the high effort, high intensity, run a mile to get a 40-yard dash time type guy. Donovan Smith was not that. Part of that is being a veteran in the NFL, knowing that you have to cut some corners sometimes, maybe if you're a little bit older and you're going to get through the entire season, especially if you're going to get through the entire season and a Super Bowl run, a 4-game Super Bowl run. And guess what? Missed some time, 4 games, but he did it. The Kansas City Chiefs got all that they could ask from that player for that season. Kingsley Suamataia, if he is able to be consistent, I think he has a little bit to learn for the kick step, right? I think that he's still going to be a little bit vulnerable to speed rushers. Should he learn those things? Should he figure those things out? Should he polish that part of his game? And he'll have 17 games of starting before the playoffs to do it. This offense is going to take a leap and bound above where it was last season. All of the talk has been about the wide receivers, and rightfully so. Last year's crop of wide receivers was at times absolutely putrid. Was in the early middle of the season despicable. This was before Rashee Rice emerged as a number 1 target. But Rashee Rice did emerge as a number 1 target, and thus he will be a different receiver at the beginning of this year than he was at the beginning of last year. Xavier Worthy is stepping in essentially for Marquez Valdes-Scantling, at least early, where I think he will be replaced in those duties by Hollywood Brown when Hollywood Brown comes back, allowing Xavier Worthy to be more of a gadget type guy, allowing Xavier Worthy to travel around the field a little bit more, allowing Xavier Worthy to run different types of routes. However, early, he will play essentially the role vacated by Marquez Valdes-Scantling. There is nothing anyone can say to convince me that Xavier Worthy can't do at least what it was that Marquez Valdes-Scantling did last season for these Kansas City Chiefs. You cannot convince me that Xavier Worthy, with zero production at the NFL level, cannot match what it was that MVS had done last year. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, on the entire season, the entire year, 42 targets, 21 receptions, 315 yards, and a touchdown. Guys, if Xavier Worthy doesn't have 315 yards by midseason, I'm going to be kind of upset. So let me pull up Marquez Valdes-Scantling's season on a game-by-game basis, if I can find where that is here. Because I think what you're going to see is Xavier Worthy being Marquez Valdes-Scantling for the first 4 games of the year until, where is this? Until, there we go, Hollywood Brown comes back. So the first 4 games of last year looked like this for MVS. Week 1 against Detroit, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 48 yards. Not all that impressive. Week 2, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 13 yards. Week 3, 2 targets, 1 reception, 37 yards. Week 4, 2 targets, 1 reception, 6 yards. That is 50, 61, 70, 80, 91, 98, 104 yards in the first 4 games of the season. If Xavier Worthy doesn't eclipse 104 yards in the first 4 weeks of the season, color me surprised. Color me surprised, because I think that Xavier Worthy is going to be twice the receiver this year that Marquez Valdes-Scantling was last year. And that's until Hollywood Brown gets back. But if the biggest deal here to me is Kingsley Suamataia, if Kingsley is able to hold that rusher, that oncoming defensive end, for 3 seconds, 3.5, 4 seconds, keeping him out of Patrick Mahomes' lap, then guys, this offense is going to become very wide open, very fast. 4.21 seconds is all it takes Xavier Worthy to run halfway down the field. That's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. The Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.